Welcome to PD on the Go, the podcast that delivers bite-sized learning on communication, collaboration, and facilitation for busy teacher leaders. Tune in while you're in the car, on your lunch break, or making copies, and get ready to level up your leadership skills. My name is Hallie Case, and I'm with the Office of Professional Learning in Fairfax County Public Schools, and I'm joined today by my colleagues.
I'm Sarah Phillips.
And I'm Mary Beth Anderson.
All right, so we are continuing with a couple weeks of talking about protocols that are things that you can, and so far we've talked about team planning, things you can do to structure team planning time to answer the 4 critical questions and make sure you're being efficient and effective. And today we're still going to share a protocol, but the audience or like the group you're working with is through your co-teaching partnerships and really thinking about what can your co-planning time look like. And when we were thinking about this episode, we were sharing our past experiences because we've all been in co-teaching situations in the past. And I was at a school where they really taught us that a co-teaching partnership is not 50-50. It's 100-100. You're both 100% of the teacher in there. And so we thought about this episode sort of through that lens and also through the lens of like, in a co-teaching partnership, it's not that one person's the teacher leader and the other isn't, right? So we're thinking through the lens of you're also both teacher leaders in this situation, and how are we collaboratively planning in order to benefit students? So what makes co-teaching partnerships tricky? Because there's lots of things that can make it tricky.
Lots of things. I'd say one of the number one things I hear and that I've experienced is time. So finding the time to meet, and especially in staffing situations where perhaps a co-teacher is, let's say, an ML teacher, a multilingual teacher who is paired with you, and they might also be paired with teachers on other grade levels. So finding that time to coordinate and leverage the brains and expertise of both teachers is so powerful, and a challenge could be the time.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about, which goes along with time, that even if it is a partnership that works together often, that sometimes we don't have a chance to connect because the day's been busy and the teacher comes to the classroom and they both meet together and they're like, okay, I haven't had time to check in with you. What's the plan for today? Where are we? What can I do? And we just quickly make a plan on the fly. And while those are made with the best of intentions, we might not be using our time with students the most effectively that we can, or get the most out of it, because we're just like, okay, you work with these kids, I'll work with these kids, and then we'll chat about it later.
Right. Like it's a little bit more reactive instead of proactive. And what can happen when you're being reactive or like really just making decisions in the moment for students, sometimes the rigor level drops, right? Or like scaffolds get put into place for a really long time, or scaffolds get put into place that aren't necessarily needed. And so it makes it a more inconsistent student experience where we're putting barriers to rigor in place in our like quick chat lesson planning, or if we haven't had a chance to talk at all, right? So what are some of the benefits to these co-teaching? And really, we know there's benefits to the partnership, but what's the benefit to finding time to plan when you can?
I think what you were just saying made me think of intentionality, right? When we plan with intentionality with our co-teacher, we can proactively create those multiple paths or pathways to learning for our students so that all students are accessing the essential standards at the level of rigor that they're meant to be reaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're putting both of our really smart brains together to come up with maybe more strategies or different ideas. And we always do a better job or come to a better product when we can bounce ideas off of someone else. And, 2 brains are better than one. But just being able to think through, like, how can we track student progress? It's not that we're just, like, teaching it and then going off, because I might not have met with the students that you've been seeing the last 3 days, and I don't know where they are in progress. So, like, also there's this piece of, like, how will we communicate with each other?
Yeah.
So almost the model of co-teaching that you're doing, which I don't think is always, named in the beginning of a partnership like
Sure.
that together.
Yeah. Okay, so the protocol that we're going to share today around co-planning time, and this could be 2 people coming together, but it could be more, right? Like it could be separate from the CLT meeting. Like we need a co-planning meeting where all of the teachers who co-teach with a particular person get together. So we're going to talk through that, and it does come from the section of our protocol library where we have some specific protocols for universal design for learning. So this takes on that lens as well. So Mary Beth, talk us through the UDL co-planning protocol.
Yes. And the reason why it's in our UDL section is because often UDL and inclusion go hand in hand. So there are common partnerships with special education teachers and general education teachers, but this could really work for a ML teacher or an AART that's coming into your room. Whoever you're working together with in that partnership, you can use this protocol with. So the first part is you could look at a lesson together, or it could be for a unit, and separately think about what's the goal of the lesson and how is this important for students to know? Why is it important for students to know? And then coming together to look at what ideas you both have and how to come up with like a common goal and a common reason. And that's because we both could have different ideas of like why this, like what to point out.
Honestly, even if that's all you have time for, that could make a huge difference.
So
like
powerful.
we are thinking we're doing the same thing.
Right. It's like question 1.
Yeah.
What do we want students to know and
Right.
be able to do? Because I
And
could
it sounds
think it's
simple,
one
but
part.
sometimes like we have different ideas about what a lesson is.
And we've all been there where we've done it, and then we talk to each other after, and we're like, "Oh, I was teaching it like this,"
Yes,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
and so it helps us to be proactive.
Yep. Okay, sorry. So
that's
then
the
what's
first
next?
part. Then the second part is to decide around the co-teaching model. And we have a roles graphic organizer that can help with this part of the conversation and tells about different types. So it might be something like team teaching, 1 teach, 1 assist, 1 teach, 1 observe, parallel teaching, station teaching. There's lots of different models, and thinking about the goal of the lesson and what will work best for the students in front of you to choose that model. And then you'll decide and talk about the level of support that you'll be providing so that we don't take away the rigor piece, and that we can see what supports do students need to be able to reach that level of rigor. And then thinking about the choices that we might provide, and then that student progress piece, because if one person is meeting with a certain group of students for a prolonged time, the other teacher also needs to have a handle. If it's that 100,
Yeah.
they need to have a handle on how students are progressing. And then that piece about potential barriers so that they can come up with that together. And then the last part is selecting those roles. So really deciding, I'll teach this part of the lesson, you'll teach that part, or whatever, determine what your roles are, and then materials and responsibilities. So those nitty gritty logistics.
It's really more like guided questions to support making the planning time, like you said, Sarah, intentional. And it really gets quickly to the heart of the things that will make the biggest impact for students in the decisions that you make together. So we will share this protocol through our resources, which you can find on Instagram at FCPS_PD, or by searching PD on the go in Atlas. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you join us next week for more PD on the go.